Adolescence represents a period of intensive growth and change in nearly all aspects of a child's physical, mental, social, and emotional life. It begins with the onset of puberty and lasts until the beginning of adulthood. In this video, we'll talk about the various behavioral problems that are being faced by the teenagers. Also, we'll talk about the solutions to help them to cope up with these kind of problems. Teenagers between 13 and 19 years of age faces real concerns as this is the most awkward growth stage of their life. They go through a lot and are expected to cope up with the hormonal changes, puberty, parental and social workforce, work and school pressures, and so on, which can be frustrating at some point of time and make them impatient. Some of the most common problems that are being faced by the teenagers are explained in the next part of the video. Bullying affects teenagers to a concerning extent and can happen to anyone. Around one third of Australian students say that they have experienced bullying at some point. Often, people feel powerless against bullying. In 2015 to 2017, 40% of the adolescents aged 15 to 19 years reported having sexual intercourse. The proportion of young people who have had sexual intercourse increases rapidly as they age through adolescence. Over the last few years, the consumption of drugs among the teenagers has increased rapidly. Unfortunately, teens often underestimate how easy it is to develop an addiction and they don't understand the risk associated with overdosing. Alcohol use and binge drinking has increased significantly over the past few years, especially among the teenagers. The teenagers do not consider about the risk of underage drinking as they get addicted towards alcohol. Some teens feel so much pressure to get into a good college that they are burning themselves out before they graduate from high school. More and more kids are being pressured into having sex, doing drugs, and even bullying other kids as they become a victim of peer pressure and they do not understand the lifelong consequences of these kind of pressures. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter can be great ways for teens to connect with one another, but social media can be problematic for several reasons. For example, social media can expose your teen to cyberbullying, slut shaming, and so much more. Social media can have a negative impact on friendships and is changing the way teens date these days. It can even impact their mental wealth. Over the past few years, depression rates grew among adolescents as spending too much time on electronic devices may be preventing young people from in person activities. Also, these days, they experience new conditions like fear of missing out, which further leads to feelings of loneliness and isolation. Some parents or guardians are way too demanding, which can put a lot of unnecessary pressures on the adolescents. So, the adolescents should be given an appropriate environment where they can express themselves freely with no fear of being judged. Also, a child in his or her adolescent time period wanted to be accepted by the society and also faces a lot of problem while adjusting with the society. So the people should not criticize their thoughts and emotions. Also, emotionally healthy and regular conversation about various topics like dating, drugs, alcohol, etc. can help the teenagers to get appropriate kind of information which will ultimately help them to make the informed choices. Uh, Adolescence is a roller coaster of emotions and thoughts. So parents and guardians should, acknowledge and understand the emotions which the adolescents are experiencing, and also they should give them proper time and space, as needing space is the normal part of growing up. Parents may create a list of rules like when to use the internet, which sites to visit, what safety measures to follow, and of course, they should clearly discuss the why for the same, as a clear communication channel opens up many problems and help the teenagers while dealing with the world, right? Thank you.